Donald Trump held a public roundtable on immigration enforcement. Appropriately enough for these occasions where the main objective is to suck up to him, the president's official YouTube page says it took place at the White Hose, which is also both the Secret Service and Melania's nickname for him. Among all the participants at the White Hose that day, acting ICE Director Thomas Homan stood out for his plaintive cry in defense of his agency.
You got a congressman who said, quote, the cowardly acts of ICE officers that terrorize innocent immigrant communities. ICE does more to protect the immigrant community than any politician ever has done. I'm sick and tired of the constant vilification of these men and women.
Leave Brittany alone!
Aw, remember when people used to defend women on the internet? It was a simpler time. ICE, of course, refers to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the agency whose job application is just a single question asking if the real hero of Schindler's List was the girl shouting, "Goodbye, Jews." If that criticism of ICE makes you sad, here's a proposal. Let's shut it the fuck down. I'm serious, it's awful, and we don't actually need it. You know, as a liberal, I don't usually advocate for smaller government, but in this case, as I say to my barista every morning, there should be one less ICE. Far from being an essential part of our republic, ICE has only existed since 2003. It's the same age as America's Next Top Model. You've known what smizing is for as long as ICE has existed. And though it may be hard to believe during haircut week, ICE has ruined far more lives.
The number of those immigrants with no criminal record that are arrested has doubled under this administration.
In a recent 2-year period, federal data shows there have been more than 1,000 complaints of sexual assaults and sexual abuse at immigration detention centers nationwide.
For 3.5 years, Davina Watson was held in an immigration detention center. He lived with the constant fear of being deported, even though Davino is a U.S. citizen.
Oh yeah, 3 years is rough, but have you ever been a powerful government employee that someone was mean to once? Before ICE, the U.S. didn't have an agency dedicated to deporting people who pose no threat to us. Until the current wave of wall humpers came to power, a lot of conservatives were totally cool with that.
I believe in the idea of amnesty for those who have put down roots and who have lived here, even though some time back they may have entered illegally.
Oh man, imagine if Trump saw that today. He'd probably be like, whoa, a ghost. It was actually Reagan, a Republican president, who gave amnesty to 3 million undocumented immigrants, and a Democratic president who screwed them over by ramping up deportation, which seems counterintuitive until you realize they had switched bodies after getting struck by lightning while urinating in a fountain. Also, Donald Trump immediately went for a swim in that fountain. And ICE isn't just new, it's in entirely the wrong part of the government. ICE was created shortly after 9/11 when Islamophobia was as rampant as tube tops and respect for Rudy Giuliani. Oh, shit. 2 of those things are back. If tube tops come back in, I swear to God, I might stop shopping at Forever 21. In our national terrorism freakout, we turned immigration from an economic and labor issue into a national security issue. Deportations were handled by the Enforcement and Removal Operations Unit, a division of the newly created ICE, which was a division of the newly created Department of Homeland Security, which was a division of, I want to say, Nabisco? By putting the anti-terrorism people in charge of immigration, the government signaled that immigrants are a threat. But ICE's own figures show most immigrants in detention pose no threat to the public. Abolishing ICE should be a bipartisan issue. It's textbook government waste. We spend more than $6 billion a year on this bloated, unaccountable, cruel department. So what do Republicans say we should do about agencies like ICE?
It is dictatorial. It is unaccountable. It is practically unrestrained and expanding on its already expansive mandate from Congress, and it is contemptuous of the rights, values, and preferences of ordinary Americans. There's no better example of the corruption of power than this agency. It is imperative that we move toward abolishing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Oh, sorry, I thought he was talking about ICE. I must have zoned out while gazing lustily at his sexy neck scrotum. And remember, ICE isn't Border Patrol. They work on the interior of the country. They're getting rid of immigrants who are already living in our society, most of whom just want the same things we all want: a safe place to live, a job to support their family, and more skin on Riverdale. Unfortunately, our big lumpy boy sees every immigrant as a threat, so he's given ICE carte blanche, emphasis on blanche, to round up as many as it can find. Veterans, parents who have lived and worked here for decades, people who will literally be murdered if sent back to their home country. Our current immigration policy is an early 2000s relic that's become outdated, a law enforcement Adrian Brody, if you will. And like Adrian Brody, it must be eliminated. Abolishing ICE shouldn't be controversial. Despite what Fox News would have you believe, it doesn't mean we let immigrants who commit actual crimes go free. We already have mechanisms to prosecute them through something called the law. The criminal justice system can handle immigrants just like it handles everybody else. So don't worry, Republicans. Even if we score a win for human decency by getting rid of ICE, you can still count on the police and the prison system to treat non-white people like subhuman garbage, so everybody wins. Truly, the #1 reason ICE needs to go isn't just that it's a wasteful, made-up, misplaced, useless agency. It's because it's cruel.
Family members in Plant City will be forced to say goodbye to this father. Luis Blanco is said to be deported by ICE at the end of this month. Now his pregnant wife and children are left to fend for themselves since he was the sole provider for this family.
I was going to go to college in January, but I couldn't because I have to help my family with the bills.
The U.S. government should not be in the business of tearing happy families apart. It's disgusting, and it makes assholes like this think they're being good citizens.
Clients at your staff is speaking Spanish to customers when they should be speaking English. And my guess is they're not documented. So my next call is to ICE to have each one of them kicked out of my country. Honey, I'm calling ICE. Stop.
The only time a New Yorker should be screaming about ICE is if your barista put 6 ice cubes in your venti unicorn latte instead of 5. Now there's no room for the colors. So no, let's not just reform ICE or fix it or hope it gets better under a different president. Let's shut it the fuck down. If former ICE agents need a new job, may I suggest the law office of Aaron Schlossberg? I think there may be a vacancy. We'll be right back.